This isn't my usual sort of thing, but one of the roving fraternity who shoots where I sometimes shoot near Chelmsford got on to me and asked me if I'd make him a bow from a laminate stave. Well, that's not my thing at all. I said, well, what's this laminate stave? You know, what are the laminations? He said, well, I haven't actually got it, but I was thinking of one of these bamboo ones from Lee Anchors. And I'd done one of those before with my mate JT, and it was fun, but I've done it before, so it's of no real interest. So as I was explaining that, I thought, but I've got a pair of scruffy yew billets that I'd put together that were nice and long but a little bit thin. I've got tons of bamboo, and I've got a bit of Lemonwood left. So I thought if I stick those together, that will make a nice combo. I mean, I had done one before where I added a bit of Lemonwood to a yew belly that was going to be slightly underweight. So anyway, I've done it, I've glued it up. But it's slightly more interesting than that, because I don't know if you can see this dark streak here. This is a bit of Pacific yew that's been glued on to the English yew billets where they were a bit thin at one point to beef them up a bit. So basically it shows how, you know, don't throw away your scraps of timber. You can glue some billets together, they've got a skinny dip at one point, put a patch in. Well, not even a patch, it's like an overlay, and if that is then sandwiched between the back and the core, it's not going to be any problem to anyone at all. Right, I've stuck a string on it. He wanted £100 at 30. There's some obvious weak points, like here the bamboos, this node dips down quite a bit, so we're a bit thin here, but we're a bit chunky here. I'd taken some time to pre-taper the yew core, just by eye really, because I didn't want to run out of Lemonwood on the belly somewhere near the tips. So the tips are quite thin, they're thinner than I'd normally start. I normally start, get the bend in the middle, then bring the tips round. But this is pretty much shaped to a good taper to start with the tips narrowing extra, as they would on a finished bow. So let's have a bit of a shufty. Literally the first time on the tiller, so you're seeing what I'm seeing. Alright, that's the strings popping out the knock. Just here. Yeah, I'll file that knock a bit deeper and we'll have another go. Right, I just filed those knocks a little bit deeper. I haven't done my usual temporary tip overlays because I'd already put grooves in the core. I had the glued up core, the spliced billets, I'd had them on the tiller and given them a very gentle flex just to see, you know, if they were bending to a reasonable shape. That's moving alright. 60. I've certainly got plenty of grunt there. Blimey. It's hard to see which is the weaker. Looks fairly even. I think the right's weaker actually. Yeah. Well, there's 80. I'm pulling fairly centrally so at the moment, so I wasn't sure which was going to be the upper or lower limb. Well, there's 90 at 20 inches. That's not looking bad for a first try. I think that probably will be the upper limb. Looks a little bit weaker. I can have a look at that. And that's an example. I generally say, you know, you should pull it to full target weight if the tiller's looking reasonable. Well, I've gone a lot further than I might have done. If it had been obviously uneven, I might have stopped at 50 or 60. But I've got to 90 there. It's just sensible to review the video and tart it up a bit. I don't want to end up overstressing this slight weak point. It's got a little hint of reflex. I glued it up on one of my usual formers. It's what it is.